Every year, the Annie E. Casey Foundation issues what is called its Kids Count Data Book. It's a survey of the well-being of children in all 50 states, broken down by the changes and differences that are occurring in each of those states. It relies heavily on numbers in 4 different categories. And with us here to talk about it is Kristen Kinchler, a research associate with the Maine Children's Alliance. Thanks for coming in. It's nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So the 4 categories that the report looks at, the 4 broad categories, are health, education, community and family, and economic well-being. Then smaller categories there. Overall, when you look at how Maine is doing compared to the other 49 states, what does this year's report tell you?
Yeah, so this is the 36th year the report's run. Maine ranks 17th this year, which puts us up like the middle upper of the pack. And I think, there's some disparities between the categories, right? I think we score really high in family and community. We were number 6. But then when we look at education, unfortunately this year we scored 41st.
We're going to talk about that, but let's dig into just some of the smaller categories of the 16, and we don't have time to get to all of them, but I want to get to one of them. Children in poverty, because this is really a major indicator. Maine doing slightly better this year, 13% of the kids in Maine in poverty, down from 14% 2019. What do you make of that number?
Yeah, so, and this is what the book also makes of that number, is there was a lot of pandemic-era policies that were pro-family that really boosted families' economic security. And, we've done a lot in the state to boost family economic security. We've increased GA, we've got SNAP up and running in the state, and we've put a lot of work into getting kids out of poverty. We also expanded Medicaid, which helped get kids health care and have parents not to pay for all that health care.
And this is paying off, you say, in GA, just to be clear, general assistance.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Let's talk about another category. Children living in households with a high housing cost burden. 26% of the kids in Maine live in households with a high housing cost burden. This reflects the increase in the cost of a home, right?
Yeah, it's really that simple. And the increase in rents, rental households, bear a larger burden of that than homeowner households. And we also know that home ownership has become unattainable for a lot of families in Maine with the increase in the median family price.
It's that simple. All right, that's the economic well-being, 2 from the economic well-being category. And overall, Maine ranks 16th there. In education, Maine ranks 41st. Let's dig into just 2 of the categories here. 4th graders not proficient in reading, 74%?
Yeah. It's a bit of a devastating number. I think what we can look at it as a room for growth. So I think other states that we've looked at who maybe scored better, they've done a lot of policy and investments, and we've done some investments recently into reading education, but it's clear that Maine needs just a lot more investment into that.
The same kind of thing. 8th graders not proficient in math, 75%, up from 66% just 6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, during the pandemic, education took the biggest toll. We saw a toll on student learning. We saw a rise in chronic absenteeism, which is students missing 10% or more of school days.
That's a fair point. But Maine used to rank in the top 10 or the top 15 in this study, in the Kids Count survey. About 20 years ago, Maine was always in the top 10 or the top 15. Now it's ranked 41. So that fall can't all be attributed to the pandemic, because all states went through the pandemic. What's going wrong in Maine?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a teacher, but and I'm not I'm not an educational administrator. I think it's just been, there's been a lot of research into the science of learning and the science of learning to read, and I think we need to lean back into that and what the data shows us about how to teach kids how to read, and also what teachers need to teach kids to read. I'm hoping to see a trend upwards on that front.
Obviously, everyone wants to see improvement, but let me ask you about the impact of this report, which comes out annually. Is this just going to get pushed into a corner and collect dust, or do you think that this will be a catalyst for change on the state and local levels?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest hope at the Maine Children's Alliance is that we use data to advocate for policies that work, and also make sure that we don't go backwards. So I think, a big concern with advocates across the state is the federal budget cuts and what they're going to do to the state. And we don't want to see anything rolled back. We want to see kids covered with health insurance. We want to see kids not being food insecure, because Maine has the highest rate of food insecurity in New England. And so we really just want to make sure that those investments keep coming into the state.
All right, a lot of work to be done. We got to let that be the last word. Again, Kristen, thank you so much for coming in. It's the 2025 Kids Count Survey just out. We've got more information on it that you'll find in the 207 section of our News Center Maine app or website. Stay with us. We'll return right after this.